Real good. I mean, those guys are upbeat. We need to, get back on the right track, hopefully, and feel good about ourselves. I mean, obviously, we played hard and played well. You had about 3 plays you'd like to have back, and about 1 call I'd like to have back from that game. But, it's about the whole team. We've got to execute in all phases, and, we didn't do that. But I think practice-wise, the attitude's been great. There was enough encouraging things out of that first game. The game was a lot closer than what the score indicated, I think, when you start talking plays and, take the kicking game out of it, so. But the kids, now where I've challenged the guys is, anybody can do it once. We got to do it again and again and again and again, so. And I thought the kids practiced that way. So.
Some of your veteran guys have said they kind of volunteered to have a bigger role on special teams, and that some of the stuff you said after the game kind of motivated them to feel like it was more important to get involved in that. What did you say?
Well, you look at other teams. You're looking at Alabama. I mean, they got T.J. Yeldon, and they got the linebacker. Those kind of guys are on their special teams. You look at Miami; they got all their starters on special teams. People we're going to be competing against for this championship. And that's just the one thing I mentioned, and a lot of those guys have played teams before. You try to give them a blow. But I know this, when I played, it goes by fast. And if you got an opportunity to do special things, why not be a part of that and make it happen, And that's kind of where I just, talked to Coach about it. And, when, I think we as a staff kind of talked about that, but mentioned that to our players, and I think they bought into it. So.
Do you go into a season opener having a pretty good idea of what you're going to get on defense, or are there still things that you need to see in a game before you really have a good sense?
Each week's a little bit different. Like last week we were seeing a pro-style football team. We've had a lot of success against those kind of teams over the years. This week we're facing a spread team that's no huddle, but we've prepared for it because we've seen some of that stuff as far as practice and things of that nature and how we practice. But at the same time, it's a different bird, so to speak. That you're a different animal. So, but it's principles that we've seen from our offense and that type of stuff too. So that's from a schematic standpoint. I like where we are now. Have we seen no huddle and fast tempo and that type of stuff? No. But, we hopefully with our experience, we've seen it enough, over the years that we're prepared for it. So.
Have you had a bigger variety of offenses you're going to play in the first month of the season?
I don't know. I haven't looked past this week, to be honest with you. And but I know the tempo and stuff is going to be the same, next week as it is this coming week and following week, and probably North Carolina, and there's going to be some of that, too. So that's kind of the nature of the beast and all that stuff, where it's going a little bit. But we have experience with it, and the way we practice though, we don't huddle defensively. Our pass scale is all we go 4 plays at a time, so we're going pretty quick. We're offensively, when we go team, they may bring other people in, but we keep our guys out there and do a lot of signals. So that shouldn't be a factor. But just the tempo though, how quickly they set the ball and how quickly the offense gets lined up, we've got to have a sense of urgency about us. So from that standpoint. So
how was Trimble playing at the Web?
I tell you, he played really well. He did. He played very solid and did a real nice job. And then Donardo came in later on, and we gave him some snaps. And both those guys played well. They tackled well. And like I said, they play for us, and be dependable and be solid, or we're going to be fine right there. And then, the Fuller kid played, outstanding at nickel for his first ball game, and as well at corner. But I was real pleased with how that group played when it was all said and done.
How much were you base versus nickel in that game?
Well, every chance, anytime they were in 11 personnel or multiple, 3 or more receivers, we were in nickel. Anytime they were in 2 tight ends or 2 backs, we were in base. So I don't know what the numbers were off the top of my head.
A group like this that's had success at the end of last year, how do you handle them at this point in terms of, replicating what they did this first game? Obviously, like last year, there was a little bit of a drop-off for a couple games after the Georgia Tech.
And we talked about that already. I told them, I said, last year we opened up Georgia Tech, then we fell off the face of the planet. I don't know if we thought we arrived and we just go out and do it again, you know, and, but I see a different leadership. I see a different mentality. Now we got to go, I need to go see that on game day, but I've seen it in practice. And I think your practice habits carry over to your performance on Saturday. I'm a big believer in that. I mean, we played the other night how we practiced and how our mindset was from January to that game. Now, I told our guys today, it's you know, our motto defensively is we're punching the clock and doing start to finish. So, you know, we just started, you know. So, you know, will we play that way every week? No, I mean, you're going to play good people. I mean, there's going to make some people are going to make a play, but I expect the same effort. I expect that same intensity. I expect that same motor, all those things, you know. And if we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance, you know. So.
Did Tariq answer some questions you had?
Yeah, he did. He did. He had to knock the rust off a little early. You know, there was one play coverage-wise that, you know, but I tell you, you know, he tackled well. He had one missed tackle on a spin one time early. We brought him off the edge. But really, I mean, him and Jack both, but, you know, played very well. But, you know, Tariq was, you know, it was good to have him back out there and having some production and making some plays.
The way you're using Kaishan, it's sort of how you used him at the end of last year. It seems like he's up towards the line of scrimmage, maybe more than Dietrich is. How would you like to use that over the course of the year? How do you think that
was
play
kind
to your
of
benefit?
some of that's based on formations and things of that nature too. You know, what we were doing and how we were attacking Alabama. But I mean, he is our rover. You know, our rovers are getting involved in the run game, and you know, more so than our safety probably. You know, he was kind of the adjusting guy to their slot sets and things of that nature. You know, so, you know, we that's a role that he kind of, we did more of that with him last year, just kind of settled him in on that so they get the consistent reads and that type of thing. But, you know, he played really well too, you know.
Was that the best cover game Kyle's had at Tech?
Well, he had a great cover game. You know, the other guy that played really well was Bonner, you know, from a coverage. They tried to take, you know, I knew they were going to do it, but when we were playing our robber coverage, and they were running number 2 down the middle of the field and taking number 1 wide, so our overlap guy couldn't overlap. And and Bonner did a great job with it, you know, but I knew they were going to do that, and they did it. They tried that a couple times. And, you know, he covered him well. But, you know, all those guys, I mean, I couldn't ask for any more. Kyle was a lot on man-to-man, and so was Bonner, number 2 down the middle of the field in a lot of ways. And our Robert coverage without an overlap guy, you know, so that was critical.
Kyle said, you know,